Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today, the gorgeous Katherine Jenkins. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Well, I don't know. I think you've been avoiding me, really. We met, you see, about a couple of years ago in Nottingham, and we did that lovely interview in the Hilton. I've not heard of you since. Did I offend you or anything?
Oh, but I've missed you.
You've been so busy and you never stop. And I keep my eye on you and your career and look at the Twitter. And it's so remarkable to see how classy you keep it. And you keep it authentic. You do what you do best, which is singing. It makes sense.
Oh, thank you. And I also have been away for a little time having a baby. So that's, maybe that's also why I've been away for a little bit.
How's it going? I mean, you've got the new album out and, of course, you've got a family. I mean, it's perfect in a way. You balance the two. You're able to tour, release music, and be a mum.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to balance it all. I'm not sure that any mum feels like they're doing a brilliant job of that because there's just so many moving parts. But I'm doing my best and I love it. I absolutely love being a mum. So that's been such a blessing. But yeah, they're doing very well. Thank you. Aaliyah's 3 now and Xander is 7 months. And yeah, it's been lovely to be able to share this whole experience with them. So Xander was 2 months when I went into the studio to make the album. And so, I mean, at that age, they're so portable and you could take them anywhere. And so he would sit in the studio in the car seat and I would sing to him. So it's been a really nice time. Thank you.
Life's going to be very disappointing for them when they realise that everybody doesn't sing like Mummy. Don't you think?
It's funny. I ask my daughter now when I say I'm going to work and I said, what does Mummy do for work? And she says, Mummy sings songs. And that's as simple as it is, and I like that. I just don't want her to ever think anything different. It is exactly what I do. I sing songs.
You do it so well, and I think the word I've used for the 15 or so years we've been interviewing now, it's been a long time as well, hasn't it? We did that first one for the new album, the first album for the BBC all those years ago, and here we are with Guiding Light, which... Again, your voice has never sounded stronger. It seems like you're in a perfect place vocally. Are you as strong as you've ever been?
Thank you. I think that's really why I wanted to make the album. It's been 4 years since I had a new album like this out, and with so much changing in my life, getting married in that time and having the 2 children, and I just feel very happy. I feel in a very settled place, very thankful, and I think that's a really good place to make music. And it wasn't about making an album where it was sort of let's see how many high notes I can hit. It was really about choosing music that touched my heart and that I hoped would have an emotional connection with whoever was listening to it. And so that's why the songs are really personal, are really intimate, and a lot of thought has gone into sort of creating the mood of it being quite reflective, quite spiritual, and also quite calming, so that I think we all lead such busy lives. It was trying to choose music that gives you a little bit of you time and a bit of an escape.
I love what you and Alfie and Russell have done for classical music. You've brought it to the masses, you've made it popular, and you should stand proud about that, because I think we're the same age, you and I, and when I was a kid, classical music was totally inaccessible. It was totally pompous, and I didn't want to listen to it.
Oh, it makes me so happy when, when I'm out on tour and I get to meet people after the show, and somebody might say, "Oh, you have your youngest audience member here," and they'll literally be a baby in arms, or there'll be sort of young children that have come to their first concert, and that does, when I ask them, when they say, what do you want to be when you grow up, and they say, I want to be a classical singer, that just makes me so happy, because my background, my mum and dad, they didn't take me to see the opera or to classical music concerts. I fell in love with this kind of music because I learned to sing in church, and I really strongly believe that with children it's all about introducing them to this music before they get any sort of the wrong ideas, before they, the music is amazing music. That's why it's lasted so long. So you just got to get in there before any of the other stuff comes in. So yeah, it's something I'm very proud of, and continue to try and help to make it more accessible.
It's interesting when you listen to a song like Abide With Me, which was on the last album, which was so beautiful and spiritual and meaningful. And we've talked about your dad before and how that influences your music. But then we look at this new album and songs like Never Enough, which, again, you would think, well, it can't compare, but it somehow does. These new songs are as good if they're done properly.
Well, Never Enough from The Greatest Showman, I think that soundtrack has now, surpassed Saturday Night Fever and, Dirty Dancing, and this is the biggest musical film soundtrack. And that seems to really connect with young people as well. And I love that song. So it was really nice to be able to include that. And then there's a really special song, it's a very poignant song on there called Jealous of the Angels. And it's a song originally written by Jen Bostic, but for me, when I first heard it, reduced me to tears because, I lost my dad at 15, didn't get to say goodbye to him because he had cancer and passed very quickly into a coma. And I think whenever anybody's lost somebody, you always need to think, you need to have a bit of hope that there was a reason that they left. There's a reason. And the song is, hopeful. Well, God must have needed another angel. I recorded the song. We made a video and put it up on Facebook and YouTube and everything. And it's been absolutely amazing, the response to this song, in that so many people have just outpoured their hearts and just, left a comment. This reminds me of my late husband or my father or whatever it might be. And then they've dedicated the song to, somebody that they wanted to memorialise, and so it's just had such an amazing reaction. I listened to it last night on the I'm not going to say the name because you'll go off and start playing it. Oh, it's amazing. Okay. Now you can sit in any room in your house and say your name, hers first of course, and they'll play these tracks. It's a new way of listening to music. You don't even need the CD to bother with anymore. It's extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose. It's I think really it's all about the making it easier for people to access, music in so many different forms. And, I make my music for everyone out there. And so as long as they can access it, that makes me happy. I wonder what Christmas is like as we approach just a month away now. You've got the children, you've got the family. Your dad, I'm sure, is always in your thoughts. Is it sort of a double-edged sword that you wish he was there to see your life now because it's so different and extraordinary? Of course. He is always in my thoughts. I dedicate every album to him and every award and everything really. I even have a little word with him before I step out on stage every night and say, Dad, bless my voice and help me with a good show. And so he's always in my thoughts. And I think it is, Christmas is a time for anyone where you miss family members. But it's also the next generation, isn't it? And my son, he has my father's name, and so I sort of feel like that's continuing on. And Christmas is just so wonderful, I think, when you've got seeing it through children's eyes. Because Aaliyah, now being 3, she's totally into Father Christmas. She has her school nativity on Friday, and she's been practicing hard for that. And it's Xander's first Christmas. So once all the crazy album promotion and stuff is done, then it'd be really nice to have some family time. Yeah, I bet you can't wait. And do you on Christmas Day allow yourself to eat as much turkey and stuffing as you possibly can? Well, I'm actually vegetarian, so I don't eat turkey. I have a nut roast. I have a vegan nut roast, which honestly is very good. Is it? But I cook. Yeah, no, it is. I cook a turkey because I gave up meat not for animal reasons, but my dear friend Polly had cancer, and she gave up meat when she was going through her treatment, and I did it with her for solidarity. So I'm happy to cook it for everybody else. I just don't eat it myself. And then, of course, the presents and waking up Christmas morning, it must be glorious. I mean, if you look back just 5 or 10 years ago, your Christmas Eve and Christmas Day was very different. Yeah, a lot of church singing. That's why I always think of my Christmases, where a lot of stuff as a chorister and doing Christmas, the Christmas week and midnight mass and things like that. And so I always have really lovely memories of Christmas. But I think, now it's all about getting the family together and just having some quality time.
It's beautiful. And I saw you looking so happy on Jonathan Ross just the other week. Is it extraordinary to you that guy turns down most people? Most stars, no matter how big they are, don't get on there, and he chose to have you on. It's a great compliment, because it's not necessarily a natural fit to have a classical singer on his show, but somehow they want you. It's a great compliment, isn't it?
He's always so lovely, and I think shows like that are really, really fun. I mean, I couldn't believe that he got me rapping.
Yes, well, that's what I was coming to, Katherine. We need to talk about this.
Oh gosh, it's mortifying.
Well, you've got Blinded by Your Grace on the new album, which is the Stormzy track. Again, I think it's one of the reasons we're still talking today is you make sure you keep relevant for the year that you're bringing the album out. It's so important, isn't it?
It is, because, there's a lot of traditional music on the album, hymns and, the lovely duet with Bryn Terfel and things that people would expect me to sing. But I also think it's nice, with every album to do something unexpected. And with the album idea being, reflective and spiritual and religious in some ways, when I was looking at Stormzy's song, at the actual lyrics, I hadn't realised when I first heard it that he is a strong Christian. And when you look at the words, you think, actually, this could be interpreted by anyone from any faith in their own way. So I thought, well, we'll give it a go. It was easier said than done, in that actually Blinded by Your Grace is in two parts, it's two separate songs. So we put part 1 and part 2 together. We had two choirs added. I wrote an orchestral accompaniment for it. And if it didn't come out well, then nobody ever had to hear it. But it's actually one of my favourites on the album now. And actually, there's children speaking, saying, blinded by your grace in different languages all the way through the track. And then the final one is my daughter saying it in English. So she gets a little moment to duet with Mummy. I was going to ask you to do a rap about me, but before I did radio, I was a banker. So I don't think I'm going to risk it. I think we better not, Katherine. An Evening with Katherine Jenkins will be taken to the stage next spring. And again, I'm in Vegas for the whole month from the end of April to the end of May, so I won't get to see you. Are you trying to avoid me? What's going on? Stop it. What are you doing in Vegas?
Well, I always go out there and do all the shows and see all that I did it for the BBC.
Amazing.
So now this is a place you ought to be. Have you ever thought of going there?
Yes, I've done some shows there. I did a tour with Andrea Bocelli, and we played Vegas a couple of times, and then also I've performed with David Foster over there, and yeah, I mean it's a wonderful place, and it's really fun. But it's for me going to be really exciting to get back out on tour in the UK, and we've got so many dates.
How many new frocks, Katherine? Come on.
Oh, there'll be at least 4 new frocks for that tour, 4 or 5, yes, because I've got to make an effort, haven't I? And yeah, it's just we've got so many dates in April and May next year across the UK, and so I love the opportunity to make an album, and it's really nice to be in that bubble and make something as perfect as you can. But there's nothing like being in front of a live audience and just getting to see the reactions to the music. And my shows are always a lot of banter. I like to chat with the audience. And
yes, you're very chatty, aren't you? I've noticed that.
Oh, sorry, am I talking too much?
No, I love it. This is what we like. You see, you come on stage, and that makes it human again. People just love it, and they think they know you, they get to know you, and they get to hear you sing, which is what we love. You can see Katherine Jenkins on tour with An Evening with Katherine Jenkins in 2019. Go to gigsandtours.com. The new album, Guiding Light, is out this week. You can pre-order on Amazon and other places. Thank you for being one of the nicest people I've ever met and one of the most talented stars in history. Katherine, good to talk to you.
Thank you. Big kiss and enjoy Vegas.
Yes, I will. Come and join us. What happens there ends up on Facebook.
Thank you.